New information tonight regarding a car that sits somewhere in the Red River. Authorities say it was an accident. The driver had been distracted by a pet that exited the vehicle without putting it into park.
The call came in a little before 6 this evening, and at that time, the white car was said to be floating down the Red River near the 700 block of 15th Avenue North in Moorhead. When officers arrived, they could see the vehicle floating for several minutes, and then it was completely submerged. Crews gave up attempts to get the car out tonight and may return as early as tomorrow.
We have exclusive video tonight surrounding the drunk driving arrest of a Devils Lake police officer in mid-July. That officer was later suspended from duty.
The video was released after we reported that authorities were withholding public information. As Valley News Team's Joshua Pagero reports, the video clears up what the officer first said and what actually happened.
The video shows a Devils Lake police officer pulling up to the scene of a wreck in July of this year.
Got blood?
Looked to me like he went through the windshield.
Oh, this guy.
Immediately, he finds blood all over the grass.
Got blood right here.
And it's also clear to him someone was drinking.
I think this might be him right here because there's a blood trail right here.
Another member of the Devils Lake Police Department, Bryce Massett, had been behind the wheel of the crashed vehicle. He was off duty at the time and had been taken to a hospital where he was being treated for injuries. The 23-year-old would later plead guilty to drunk driving.
Yeah, there's his tracks. Yeah, right from the skid.
After several requests to various law enforcement agencies in the area, police finally released the video to Valley News Live. We also obtained dash cam video from North Dakota Highway Patrol. Initially, Massett told investigators that someone stole his car.
He said something about he was with somebody who stole his vehicle.
But as officers continued to check out the crash scene, they speculated that Massett was to blame.
I guess Bryce had a little bit to drink tonight.
Oh, that's what my guess would be.
It happened. It's not funny, but...
He was placed on 3-week suspension without pay, but has since returned to work as a member of the police department. In Devils Lake, Joshua Pagero, Valley News Live.
In an unrelated matter, the Devils Lake Police Department is currently caught up in an FBI investigation after a former officer killed an unarmed man. The Ramsey County State's Attorney chose not to prosecute that ex-officer. New details have surfaced about Monday night's standoff near NDSU. Court documents filed today show 40-year-old Brandon Grant now faces several charges. It includes violating a no-contact order, possession of meth and marijuana. Grant took off from what was first described as a domestic disturbance at 1131 College Street North. What concerned officers was that Grant was known to keep a gun in his vehicle. A search of the apartment uncovered an AR-15, several handgun magazines, a small amount of meth and marijuana. Grant would later be arrested in Sargent County without incident.
Recent apartment break-ins prompted a Fargo man to contact our whistleblower hotline.
He and his neighbors say they don't feel like their items are safe and want something done about it. Valley News Team's Callie Hubbard did some digging.
Yeah, when I opened up my garage, this is what I found here.
And Brian Saxard didn't like what he discovered.
Literally not hard to break through here.
He was doing a final sweep through before moving out of his Summit Point apartment in South Fargo. Noticed the 2 gaping holes in both walls. The sheetrock had been knocked down, big enough for a person to crawl through. And Saxard wasn't the only victim.
This garage was left open, so they broke into all of these garages, and if you take a walk with me, they went through this wall, went through this one, and went all the way down to this garage here.
I ran around on the 3rd floor, asking the neighbors if they knew anything.
What we know so far is that bikes and beer were stolen. Besides the theft, Saxard wants to know why he wasn't contacted by his landlord.
You know that stuff like this can happen, but, you know, when it happens to you, kind of hits home.
We reached out to Goldmark, which owns the property. They tell us that residents should know not to keep their garages open and to not put valuables inside. They say they're going to have someone put up more sheetrock as soon as possible. Saxard says that before he moves out, he just hopes that Goldmark has better communication with his soon-to-be former neighbors.
I'm excited to get the heck out of here. With this going on, it's just icing on the cake to get out of here.
In South Fargo, Callie Hubbard, Valley News Live.
A Goldmark spokesperson says this sort of thing doesn't happen often and that they are fixing the problem. If you need help uncovering fraud and corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline, 237-6576. You can leave your tip, and then a member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth.
Authorities in Walsh County are asking for your help locating a missing piece of farming equipment. A yellow Alloway 22-foot stalk shredder was stolen from a rural Grafton farmstead. Anybody with information should contact law enforcement.
The anxiety level remains high for many of the people living in 3 mobile home parks in the Fargo, West Fargo area. They have received a new lease that they'll have to sign in a couple weeks, and it contains some major changes, including higher rent, and they'll now be responsible for their utilities. Travis Laub is one of the residents who's been reaching out to us about the new owners, Haven Park Capital. He sent us news reports where Haven Park did similar things in Iowa.
It could put a lot of people in a hard place if they sign it, but if they don't, they may face other consequences.
Officials with Haven Park previously told us the rent increase and other changes are part of some upgrades that will be coming over the course of the next year.
The number of runaway kids in the area has nearly doubled compared to a year ago at this time. Police on both sides of the river say they get at least 1 or 2 reports a day.
Valley News Team's Courtney Lockie looks into why the numbers are climbing.
Since June, Fargo police say they've had to search for 47 runaways, dramatically up from 29 during the same period last year.
Most of these missing persons or runaway juveniles are recovered or found really quickly. So those numbers cover the reports that were filed. However, that doesn't cover every single missing person that's been called in.
Police say it's rare that runaways actually go missing for an extended period of time.
These officers, multiple officers, not just one, will spend hours looking for these juveniles until they've rendered every possible thing they could.
The increase is also being noticed here. YouthWorks tells us they've got over 150 kids in their runaway shelter this year. Experts say there are many factors behind the spike. Oftentimes, runaways carry emotional stress and depression. Economic, social, and environmental stressors can pull families apart. In hopes of stemming the tide, families are urged to reach out.
If you feel like something's off or you don't know where they're at and you want our help, that's what we're here for, 24/7.
YouthWorks also has programs that help with family intervention and reunion for those in need. In Fargo, Courtney Lockie, Valley News Live.
There's also a national runaway safe line for families who are struggling. The number's right there on your screen, 1-800-RUNAWAY. For more options, visit our website, valleynewslive.com.
U.S. Senators John Hoeven and Kevin Cramer are working to bring more treatment options to veterans with PTSD and traumatic brain injuries. Today, they introduced the TBI and PTSD Treatment Act, which would allow hyperbaric oxygen therapy to be covered treatment within Veterans Affairs. HBOT is a non-invasive form of therapy.
Massachusetts officials are weighing whether to grant early jail release to Michelle Carter, the woman currently imprisoned for urging her suicidal boyfriend via text message to take his own life. Carter, who is now 22, appeared before the Massachusetts Parole Board to seek release after serving 7 months of her 15-month jail sentence. Carter was convicted in 2017 of involuntary manslaughter in the 2014 death of her suicidal boyfriend, Conrad Roy.
Last year, more than 2,500 Minnesotans were hospitalized with the flu. 126 people died. This year, the Department of Health is asking people to get their flu shots now. Health leaders say because the flu season can begin anytime, residents can get their flu shots as soon as possible. The vaccine was only 50% effective last year, but experts say people are still better off with the vaccine than without it. The DOH has also put out a list of what it calls flu-safe facilities. These are places with flu vaccination rates of 90% or higher among healthcare staff and who promote the importance of getting the flu shot with other employees. In our area, 3 hospitals made the list: Essentia Health in Detroit Lakes and Ada, and Perham Health. 2 nursing homes qualified as well: Essentia's Oak Crossing Home in Detroit Lakes and Perham Living.
A woman is recovering after being rescued yesterday on the Minnesota side of Wisconsin Point. A witness reported a woman waving her hands in the water, calling for help. City officials tell us the woman was on her sailboat when she lost control and crashed onto the rocks on the end of Park Point. A jet ski was used to rescue her. She went to the hospital with injuries to her hand, but was otherwise okay. The sailboat was recovered but is heavily damaged.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with No Wait Weather. All right, thanks for joining us on Valley News Live. A lot of weather to talk about. We're going to go over that forecast for Friday's severe weather and into Saturday for the start of your weekend plans as well. But right now, we're enjoying quiet weather here in the valley. Clear skies and 68 degrees reported at Hector. Wind 7 miles per hour, and it pretty much took the entire day off. Temperatures mid-60s and upper 60s across the Red River Valley and portions of eastern North Dakota, and holding on to the low 70s in Detroit Lakes and Fergus Falls. But it cools off significantly as we go toward the Red Lakes area where you see the green patches there. Temperatures slipping into the 50s. Crystal clear skies right now. A little unsettled weather heading towards Williston. But when we take a look at the big picture, we have thunderstorms that are trucking northward out of Nebraska towards South Dakota. And there'll be a chance of some early morning thunder in our area. Taking a quick look and an update for you at the 10 o'clock hour here on Imelda. This is the remnants of what was a tropical storm at the strongest. The rainfall with this system, incredible. Between 20 and 40 inches of rainfall reported from Houston toward the Louisiana border. And again, more rain is in the forecast for these areas, but they're getting a little bit of a break as we head into the overnights. Here is a look now at your hour-by-hour forecast. I pause this at 4 in the morning. So after 3 or 4, we'll have a chance at a few thunderstorms firing up and moving through the southern valley in South Dakota counties and trucking through the Fargo area as we go toward drive time there. So there'll be a chance of this if these even form during the overnight. Just keep that in mind. Not expecting these to be severe, although there could be some hail with them. As we get started on our day, temperatures will be in the 60s and the south wind really picks back up tomorrow. That'll warm things up as we'll have a break in the action through the afternoon. Mid 70s for your lunch hour. On our way into the low 80s down south. And by the afternoon, this is when the risk of severe starts. Now, we have a cold front out here. There could be some stout thunderstorms there. But anything that forms out ahead of the cold front here, well, those will have a chance at possibly producing isolated tornadoes. So we could have a very busy late evening and early overnight of weather. Then as the cold front pushes through, the rain continues. For some areas, local flooding will be a possibility as well. Hail, damaging wind, the primary threat. Isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out. So a morning drive time chance of thunder, a break with the wind from the south and the heat building in low 80s, and then late day thunderstorms moving in. Notice a big cool area here in the afternoon drive time. That's where the best chance of thunderstorms are at that time. Temperatures reaching those low 80s to the west and a lot of mid and upper 70s in western Minnesota for your day tomorrow. Let's take a look at your hour-by-hour forecast from Friday night then. As that cold front continues to trek its way eastward, the rain moves through the valley into Saturday morning. So if you're tailgating, the early arrivers may have some thunder and lightning to dodge there. Then as the game gets going and much of the day, we'll have just a chance at passing showers, but still a chance at some rain to start our weekend. Here's a look at a colorful shot. Larry captured this, Lake Eunice, beautiful colors taking place there. Friday, hot, windy, and thunderstorms late that could be severe. Saturday, spotty morning storms and then passing showers throughout the day on a cooler start to the weekend. We stay cool with scattered showers Sunday. A little quieter next week, but not hot.
Thanks, Touch.
You bet.
Up next on Valley News.